Dr. Chelsea Green, also known as the Green Queen. So, this Green Queen is a forever young pharmacist and a preventive medicine and genetics health coach. She is the founder of Green Roots Optimized Wellness, which is also called GROW, where she works as a genetic genius, helping her clients reach sustainable, optimal wellness results utilizing their unique genetic makeup. For the past decade, she has worked in multiple healthcare settings, including retail, ambulatory, and long-term care pharmacy. She collaborates with providers and other healthcare professionals in transitions of care, creating medication discharge plans for health system readmission reduction. This is along with mentoring pharmacy residents and students, while being an active speaker on a national board for medication education. These distinctions help her seamlessly lead into her committed role in equipping and empowering her clients for health autonomy. Dr. Green is passionate about preventive medicine and is rewriting her story after genetic factors were unveiled. Her goal is to help clients with physical pain, mental strains, and hormone irregularities achieve optimized wellness by uncovering the root causes of their illness with functional medicine lab testing. Your genetics don't have to predict your future. Learn how to age optimistically through getting to know your genes. Let us meet Dr. Chelsea Green. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Gaby U Show, and let's welcome Dr. Chelsea Green. Dr. Chelsea, welcome.
Hello. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and feeling empowered and ready to spread all of that with everyone that's listening today too. I spent the whole day getting ready for this.
Oh, it's worth getting ready for. Yes, awesome. So, Dr. Chelsea, we are going to get started right away. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, this is my own special Gaby U icebreaker. I love food, so I like to know what other people like too. So maybe I can start cooking it too. So I want to ask you, what is your favorite food?
I am also a big foodie. I will pick my travel destinations based on best food. My favorite food, and it's been my favorite food for as long as I can remember, is chips and salsa. And spicy foods and flaming hots. And I know you like spicy too. And
yes, you speak my language.
I think it's been maybe to the detriment of my health a little bit, but I'm figuring that out now and learning moderation and the timing of when to eat it more is better for me, but still haven't cut it out yet. I think you have to kill me first.
I can feel you on that because I have somebody too that's had to deal with a lot of GI issues. So some of the foods like, okay, but we still eat it a little bit, and then of course, as you get your healing, you start getting better, So like we say, everything in moderation. So
exactly it. I've had to cut back but keep it within moderation so I can still be happy about it.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want to eat and be in distress. It's not really so nice. All right. So the next thing I want to ask you is what is your favorite quotes? I know a lot of us, we love these quotes. They keep us going, keep us moving, So I want to know, what is your favorite one?
So like you said, you have a lot, and I was looking through some pictures, and I found this quote, and I can give some context too. And it says, "My heart shall be thy garden." It's by A. Wynell. And it spoke to me because it was engraved in concrete at a botanical gardens near my house. And the next picture that I took in the gardens was your quote, where there's light, or where there's life, there's hope. So I was like, this is going to be my quote for today. And and it kind of really embodies the season that I'm in right now, as far as
Mm.
like following my heart and speaking my heart. And I've always been very into plants and flowers and gardening, and it just kind of goes with my life too. So again, that's my heart shall be thy garden.
Oh, that's right. So I have to kind of talk on that one because yes, your heart. So that is why we have to guard our heart, what we put in, what we are exposing ourselves to, because it's that your heart. I mean, I mean, some people may say your mind, your brain, I don't know all those things, but your heart, we have to. I mean, guard our heart not to a level where we don't want to anybody to talk to us, or but there's a way you will know, having that peace, what you are bringing to the garden, your heart, because
Hmm.
when you bring some certain stuff, they grow so rapid. We don't want weeds.
Water the good stuff.
Yeah, so those some things can grow and overtake our mind. So yeah, I love that quotes. I'll have to. So I hope you guys are listening and making notes of this. This is something you can write on your wall or something and remember them. So that's a good one.
Engrave in
So
concrete.
yes, engraving concrete. Yes, that one I will. I love that. Yeah. So I want you to share with me, those key things you feel like have shaped you to be the woman you are today, like it is from your career, childhood, whatever job, just go all the way and just share.
Yeah. So I know I'm someone that is very humble, but this is a time that I get to like toot my own horn. So I'm happy to be able to share, a lot of my story and my empowerment and everything comes from like my health and how that's transformed my family health, that's transformed me and changed my perception of health. And that's kind of translated into like my career and then ultimately my business at Grow. So um, I kind of just starting off like very really far back. I in my upbringing, I was into competitive cheerleading. I have like a very tight knit group of friends, and that really helped instill a lot of like the discipline and the drive that I had. And early on, I kind of knew the direction that I wanted to go as far as like a career. Like I had a goal of being a pharmacist, and I kind of just charged right for it. I was blessed enough to get into pharmacy school at like a very young age. Did like early college through school and had an AA when I graduated high school. Only spent a year in undergrad and then went straight into pharmacy school. So I was very young going into pharmacy school, but I knew that's where I wanted to be. And even like throughout my pharmacy career, I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to what route I wanted to go into, but I ultimately chose ambulatory care, which is more direct face to face. You're working in clinics, you're able to see patients and clients more like physicians, like in
Mhm.
person, and that I really connected on that level, just to be very interpersonal and face to face and really have those connections and build a relationship with the patients and see them grow and change and get better and transform. And that was just within like a year of being in my residency too. And at the end of my pharmacy school career, like some of my families, and early into my pharmacy career, my family health kind of changed. My father, at the end of pharmacy school, was diagnosed with head and neck cancer,
Mm.
and he underwent chemo, radiation, and that kind of loops back to like my own health right now. And shortly after, getting my sparkly eyed pharmacy job, my mom, and in my role, I took care of stroke and heart failure and heart attack patients, among other different conditions. And right out of school, right out of residency, within a year or so, I was like starting my life and, in my relationship, bought a house, and then my mom had a stroke. And it was a very significant stroke. And, she spent a month in rehab, and got to be there with her. And, that took a toll on me. That gave me a lot of concerns about, how did this happen? Like, they didn't unveil like what happened to her, like how it happened. Is it, a blood clot? Was it, irregular heart rates that, caused a blood clot? They never found out what it was. And, looking back, I could see my mom, how stressed she was. It was like it was a deadline for like taxes, how much, unfortunately she had ignored her health, her weight, her inflammation. Looking back at pictures now that I see her, I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't save her. It would had to be like a personal decision for her to make to, get better. So that really transformed a lot for me as far as just like, you know, overall happiness too, and like being worried about my mom's health, and then how does that transform or translate into my own health. And in the book that I was recently published in, I talk a lot about my mom, and like I get it from my mama. And I just knew that I didn't want to be following those footsteps, like all the other footsteps, but not those. Like, so what was I doing current state in my own health to make sure that that wasn't happening? So that's kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of things in like the functional medicine space down the line. And, through the pandemic, I was still working at a hospital, not necessarily frontline face to face with patients, but was like telephonically communicating, emotionally draining myself, taking care of these patients. So that took another toll on me as well, just emotionally, and not being able to be as in person with friends or family even. That was tough. I'm sure you can relate. Even like I don't know, like um was your pregnancy like after the pandemic or like during the pandemic?
Well, yeah, about a year after the pandemic, exactly a year, kind of.
Yeah. So
So
like
still
even
fresh.
yeah, and it just like I can imagine how different raising a kid was before that, and then
Mhm.
after that, and like during that whole process too, it was a lot of things changed. Like
Oh,
a lot
yes.
of my colleagues, other pharmacists, they're leaving their jobs, they're drained, they're worn out, they are looking for a way out. And that's, I was having some work life um differences, I guess. Like I wasn't feeling, I wasn't able to give all that I could or pour into or give the care that I wanted to give to my patients, just because of time constraints or whatever it is. And that took a toll on me. Like I'm not feeling as valued, or like I'm giving as much value as I can offer to my patients any longer. And so that kind of changed my perception of like, do I want to stay here in this job, in this career even? And so even in that time, I was looking for other options, and I started doing consulting pharmacy on the side. And that was on top of my full-time job, just to test the waters to see if I wanted to change into that, because it was very similar already to some of the work and the recommendations and the population that I was treating already. But, I was still, we're going to talk about this a lot too, just providing a band-aid to a lot of things. Like you're not making a public health change or like a public health, difference when and now I'm just even more in like a skilled nursing facility and seeing like the decline and the decay and the poor care and the turnover and the sickness that just keeps perpetuating because we're not making like an overarching like, change for these people. So I'm still in that role. I'm still consulting. It just gives me a different perception, a different picture of like health. And I just know that I don't want to be there. I don't want my family to be there. I want to help people prevent from getting there. Um, and that's kind of, you know, my vision at this point. And, you
It's a good
know,
vision.
yeah, I hope, like, and I just think about like, I have friends now that are reaching out to me saying like, hey, I have memory issues. I have like hormonal imbalances. I can't, I'm having difficulty getting pregnant. You're supposed to be young and, you know, invincible at this point, and that's not
Young
the
and
case anymore.
vibrant.
Yeah, oh, they're vibrant. That's another one. So along the road of thinking about changing my career and still working, my my physical health started to decline. um I was having issues with my throat, feeling like there was something in my throat. And then eventually, like, I looked in my mouth and I saw that like one of my sides of my throats was really, really enlarged. It was like my tonsil bed that was really enlarged. And, the first thing that I think of is like my dad has head and neck cancer. So that's scary to me. And then I thought back to those times, and like 5 or 6 years prior to my father being diagnosed, he was in the hospital for a very large, like, goiter or like a lymph node looking lump on his neck. And lo and behold, that was like, it ended up being like misdiagnosed or undiagnosed at the time of his head and neck cancer. So that's all it's going through my head right now. And like that, it takes like that took a big mental toll on me, just like not knowing, not having answers. Um, it's still ongoing at this point. And, I've had surgery since then to have my tonsils out, and I'm still having the same symptom. And so it's still getting to the root cause of what's causing it. And, still a lot of like, I know that some of those things are out of my control. Like, I can't speed up, getting imaging, or show what imaging says, or getting certain lab work, but I can advocate for myself to ask for certain things, or to press, hey, no, I want to get another ultrasound. I want to get more lab work done, to help get to the root cause of everything. And I had another colleague who kind of introduced me to the same entrepreneur group that I met you, Gabby, at. Um, and that's where my functional medicine journey, like looking into a lot of like the functional medicine testing, and where starting my business kind of started. And Gabby was one of the first people to help me interpret some of my functional lab testing, my HTMA, and some of my hormone testing that, she saw me and I was probably like a complete wreck.
Oh, yeah.
And
I was really ready I was like, oh my goodness, how old is this girl?
so a lot of like my lab work was showing like very stressed state, like a calcium shell, like my muscles, my body is so rigid, my shoulders, my throat, like I still feel like a lot of like my throat muscles and my neck muscles are what is still holding a lot of these tightness. And you looked at my hormones, my cortisol was off the charts, my reproductive hormones were basically nil. And that just brought me back to like, okay, I am following in my mom's footsteps. With the stress, the inflammation, like what is next for me. And like you said, Gabby, how old is this girl? I'm only 30. And my mom had her stroke before she was 50.
Wow.
So that was very scary to me. And now, with my business and with the functional medicine testing that I do, I now do genetic testing, and I did my own genetic testing, and it really shed light on a lot of my genetics are what is contributing to my condition or my issues. So like some of the top genetic things that I was needing support in was my vascular health. Ooh, weird with the stroke. Inflammation, again with the stroke, and then mood and behavior was the next one, which is kind of aligned with me because I was going through these ups and downs with worrying and being anxious about my health. And I was just happy that it just wasn't just me. It was like I'm predisposed in
Yeah.
my genetics, but I finally found like an answer, like something I can do about it,
Mhm.
because my doctors were just like, oh, like be healthy, eat a nice diet, control your cholesterol, don't use hormonal birth control. I'm like, okay, like that's not a good enough answer for me.
That's
And
not enough.
no, it's not enough. And it wouldn't have been enough. Like I can only imagine if I would have continued on that same trajectory, like what would happen, or what it could be. And, you know, throughout the process too, like seeing like many different specialists and my primary care doctor. And I just think back to like one of the experiences that I had with my family doctor, who, you know, a lot of people don't even have a family doctor anymore. And when you're very young, you usually don't either. So yeah, I'm being a good patient. Like I'm going to see my primary care doctor to do like an annual checkup, and you know, they're pushing like anti-anxiety and depression meds on me because they could see that I'm like, upset. Like I had a lot going on at the time, and truthfully, like, I was crying in the office. I was also late to the appointment, and they're probably like, oh, geez. And now I look back at my like diagnosis and everything on my portal. It's like depression. I'm like, oh, you labeled me. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of sad about that. And, you know, it kind of has brought me to my business to be like more empowered and helping others understand the root cause and how their genetics can predispose them or predict some of the complications in the future that might be at risk for. And, starting now in your 20s and your 30s can make the ultimate difference from when you're getting a call from me at 65 and you just got out of the hospital and I'm telling you to check your blood pressure and monitor your weight and take your pills. So you don't want to get to that point. So like I've really seen the spectrum of how chronic disease can get you to a point being at the hospital versus how can you prevent and be proactive about it now, when you're so much younger. And that's, you know, kind of how I got here. And now I'm on my own journey here. I'm kind of in more of like a healing phase as well, just internally from my health issues and emotionally as well. And I'm feeling kind of better than ever. So I'm really happy
Peeling the
about that.
onions, the onion
that is
peel.
that is the truth. And it's just, I think like the perseverance and the resilience and the I'm not going to take this for an answer has really been the driver here for me. I think that's how, along the way too, what has really helped me emotionally or kickstarted some of the emotional um, perseverance too is my mom actually started to she like got connected with like a functional nutritionist and a community, a gym community, and she lost, upwards of like 50 pounds, and she's educated about why she's doing certain things nutritionally and exercise wise, and she's taking care of her health, and that gave me a lot more peace of mind. That was like December of 2021, and like I started my business in February and March of 2022. So like that was kind of a big mental relief for me to offload, to be
Yeah.
able to put back into me and really guide and change like my career too. So luckily I'm able, and now like part-time at my hospital job, and able to focus more on my health and my business and all of the great things that come with that.
That's right. Yeah. Wow. What a journey. And you're still coming
Yeah,
on
oh, it's been
the
one.
journey. I mean, it's one of those things that, I'm hoping that anybody that's listening to this, that, when we talk about our genes, it's one of those things, I have heard people say that a lot, and I have my clients, when I see them sometimes in the clinics and they're existing, they will say, oh yeah, I'm having blood pressure, I'm having this diabetes because my mom had it, so I'm gonna have it. My dad had it, my uncle had it, and all of us in the family have it. So it's a family thing, you know. But yes, we are predisposed to having this stuff, but we don't have to turn it on.
Exactly. Or we can know more about it, or know, do your genetics really play a role? Because
Yeah.
I've heard multiple people say that to me, and I get their genetics done, and it's like, oh, actually, I don't have a risk for that. Or, maybe my diet has
Your lifestyle.
preserved that for me. Yep. Or my
Yeah.
lifestyle. Exactly.
And I think it's one of those things that people want to attribute. I mean, you want to have the reason why this is happening. Yes, of course, you have a risk. And for you, it's like, I don't want to, yeah, I got it from my mama, but there's some things from my mama I don't want to get.
Not all of it. Yeah, a little joke that my mom
Yeah.
and I have is like, I'm 90% my mom and 10% my dad, just
Yeah.
saying that. And those are, maybe I can leave off the 10% that is her health issues
Yes.
and some of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like for me, I know I would say I got stuff from my dad. There are a lot of things that I got from, like bad eyes. I mean, I don't, and GI issues, because that's the one. So I'm like, oh my. So yes, we have predisposition to get all this stuff, but it is what we are doing with it. And hearing Chelsea, hearing your story of how all these processes, and this is the thing, is that we aim, we should aim to do better than our parents. And when we say do better, not just making more money than they did, but getting more healthier than they are, whatever state they are. And some of you are listening, probably your parents are healthy, but, or they did a healthy lifestyle, and you can do better than what they did. That's the thing, we need to do better. Each generation, like for me, I want to do better than how my parents did, and I hope my kids will do better than I did. So,
And it's and like I'm working currently with like an embodiment coach, and
yes,
she's helping me really unpack a lot of like your parental things. Like you talk about, you inherit a lot of things from parentally, like you inherit a lot of behaviors and emotional um containers from your parents too.
yes,
And I think that's one thing that you have to be aware of and recognize to make the change, or just to be aware of, to just be like,
yes.
oh, a trigger or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So that's another thing that I've just been unlearning
Yeah.
a lot of things at this point as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yes. And that's the thing. These things push us to do much better, like, what do I do? Can I change? Because, I don't want this to happen. How stressful it was, how all these things, like, so yeah, when we are looking at stuff like this that's happening in our family, there's so many things, like, okay, it could be from your finances, from your health, from, like, I didn't want, okay, maybe you had a parent, like, they were struggling. I don't want to do this, so I want to do this kind of job, want to do this kind of business, so I don't have to struggle. Health too. I want to live healthy. I want to do this. I don't want to be eating like this. Mentally, I don't want to be, screaming like my parents or getting stressed, So there are so many of all these things that we can change. We don't have to wake the lion, which is the genes, those bad genes. Yeah, we have some of the good genes we want. Like, yeah, I want to get the good genes, but the bad
The
one,
blue eyes, the light hair,
yeah, right.
the nice
Let's just
skin.
leave those ones down, and we can do this because this is epigenetics. Now finding out
Hmm.
that your lifestyle, your food, all these things can regulate your genes. It used to be many years ago. It's like, yeah, if you have that, it's gonna definitely happen to you. So It's I'm so glad that you are going through this. And I know when that time when I first, as I said, when I saw your labs, I'm like, oh my goodness, this girl got a lot. And it was like a lot, but at the same time, I was happy. It was like a double emotion I had for you. Like, I was sad and happy at the same time. So I was sad that, wow, this girl, I don't know, she's gone through a lot. And I was happy that, okay, she's going through this other part, trying to seek answers. And we are seeing answers like, yes, so I was so excited for that call to tell you what I found. So this is the exciting thing about, when we struggle with so many things over the years, and it's just like there's no way around it, and start seeing answers. And this is why we are so much big believers in this holistic space, holistic medicine, functional medicine, because it has really helped. Some of us here, we are looking into seeking it for our physical health, but it has saved our mental health, our spiritual health. Is amazing. I know personally that has helped me so much because it was for my physical health, GI issues, but it went beyond that. And you too, Chelsea, this is what, you have, it was, physical, and then, like, and then the mental.
Moved into the mental. Yep.
Yeah.
And even like sense, just being able to identify like, the calcium shell, the increased cortisol, like what those symptoms are producing.
Yes.
Like, the skin changes, the heart rate changes, the sleeping changes, literally the hot flashes that I was having when I was sleeping, have improved so much, not gone away completely, but over time has definitely, improved and decreased, and just knew what I was doing was working. And like seeing specialists, having imaging, having internal imaging done, and seeing the healing that has been happening since making some of these changes have been the best feeling ever. And like, is it perfect? No, but I'm on the right path. And healing
you are
takes
going on
time.
the right. Yeah. Your GPS is still telling you you are still on the right path. It's not saying that. How does
U-turn? U-turn.
It's still, the GPS is quiet right now because you are still going on the right path. So that's why I wanted to say.
Yeah,
because of course,
the GPS are like your symptoms. The silent talking to yourself. That's even your intuition. Like that could definitely be what's speaking to you.
Yeah, so right now, you feel like, oh, girl, Dr. Chelsea, you're going right. I'm not saying anything right now. But when something happens, all those symptoms start coming, you turn wrong direction.
The speed limit is 35.
Everything, all the blinking lights, everything is coming up, all the alarms. And this is the thing, it's talking about symptoms, that we shouldn't just put down those symptoms. Symptoms are your messengers trying to tell you, hello, can you do something? And a lot of the times what we're doing is that we're just putting it aside, banding the thing, pressing it down, keep pressing it down, and then there's a time you can press it down. Everything falls out. And that's when you start seeing people having different things happening to them, like all this crazy stuff, autoimmune disease, and it's like, how did this happen? Because all these years you've been pressing down because your body wants the best for you. You give your body what it needs, it's gonna get its healing, but you keep on ignoring it. It's still, is you just scream, and at the time the body will say, hey, you are on your own. I'm not taking care of you. I've been talking to you, you're not listening.
And
this is the way
that's where I felt like I was at. For sure.
Because we just imagine somebody keeps telling you stuff, saying, hey, Chelsea, you stop doing this, stop doing this stuff. At the time, the person is going to get tired. Like, okay, she's not listening. I'm just going to leave her alone. Let her go do her mess. This is how the symptoms, they don't just come. Some people say, oh, I'm surprised how all this is happening. it has been talking. You just were not listening. And the body is like, okay, you go
We
back.
weren't on the same frequency or the same channel, but now we are.
Yeah. So we should
We're
listen
learning
to
how to
our
like
bodies.
listen to those.
Yeah, listen to our bodies, be our own self advocates, research things, look at things, look at options, you know, that will be, very helpful. So I want to ask you, what would you say you are most proud today as a woman that you're most
Um,
proud of?
I feel like it's been more recently that I've been hearing this and embodying this, but finally like listening to my insides, finally listen to those sacred messengers, and I kind of alluded to like your intuition, like um I was ignoring it, I wasn't addressing it, and now it blew up into what it is now, and I'm just happy to find my voice again, listen to my intuition, and I'm leaning more into like my healing journey with more of like energies, and you like talk about like your throat chakra. you
Mm-hmm.
know you can have a lot of congestion in your throat or throat pain if you're not speaking up for yourself, if you're not voicing yourself. And it's just crazy how like it all has come back to like I have throat issues. Weird,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still ongoing. I'm just like really embodying and thinking about not just it's like a holistic picture, like
Yes.
so that's where I'm at right now, like
Mm.
what I need to believe. I'm wearing blue colors because that's your throat chakra color. Like I'm putting a lot of time and effort into concentrating into that area for the healing itself.
Mm.
And I'm not quieting myself anymore. I'm not speaking up for myself. I'm I'm listening. And that's what I'm most proud of in this
Yes.
time. I like in my journey, like I drove really hard to get here. I want to enjoy it. I want to last in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm awake and I'm listening.
Like I'm enjoying this road trip.
And I
I just
really,
want to keep going in this.
yeah. And I'm really proud now to
Mm.
just have a lot more of like self-acceptance about like where I'm at, you know, self-love in this space. I'm a big critic of myself,
Mm.
like the typical perfectionist type behavior. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just more sure of myself at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy to gain that confidence back now more as an adult now, like not just as, you know, a teenager, like as an adult, like it
Even
seems
just few
weird.
years ago that I saw I could, before we started this show, while we were chit-chatting before we started recording, I was saying that you look different, you talk differently, just 1 year ago or so, we talked, like, when we really talked I could see the
Yeah, it was a
difference.
little bit, I think it was like about a year, a little bit less than a year. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I've gone through a lot just in that
Mhm.
period, in these past 6 months, these past 3 months, just
Mhm.
along that path.
Yeah.
And
That's
like other people are saying it too, like, oh, like you really are glowing. You look so good. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, ooh, okay, really?
okay.
I'm like, all
Okay, I'll
right.
take it. I'll keep doing what I'm doing since it's
Yeah,
working.
exactly. And I'm just trying to make
Mm.
sure that I'm seeing what others are seeing too, and in the good things.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's a good way to segue way into the next question. So I want you to just what are some encouraging words you want to give to this woman listening to this show today? Or even a man listening to this show that. I know this show is mostly women, but some men listen to it and probably they can pass it on to their wives or partners. So
I wrote a couple things down that I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to say.
yes.
Um, and the biggest thing I think that resembles and is most close to me is like to be your own cheerleader. You know, no one's going to celebrate you like you celebrate you. And I forgot a lot of, I'm a cheerleader by heart, like, competitively, collegiately. And
Yes.
you forgot that you're supposed to cheer yourself on, be proud of
Uh,
yourself. No one else is going to, like, I feel like, embarrassingly enough, like your parents are like always hyping you up and like talking about you all the time. And like,
mhm.
you should be doing that for yourself.
That's
So
right.
don't forget that. It doesn't have to be outwardly, it can be you're journaling about it, you're talking to yourself in the morning about it, you're singing to yourself in the shower about it. Just don't forget the good things and things that you're proud of, because those moments may seem small, but in the long run, they're probably really big moments. And like every small moment should be celebrated, even if it's small. Celebrate it like it's the best thing ever, because
Right.
life is too short not to celebrate.
Yeah.
um, some other things that I put, just to kind of think about was, don't let anybody like dim your sparkle. And I don't know if you can see, but I got some like
Oh,
rhinestones on my eyes
oh,
today.
wow.
Don't let anybody
Oh,
like dim your
mhm.
sparkle. That's a quote my mom actually says to
Yeah.
me. But I think that is, you know, self-love right there. Don't dim it. Don't dim it for anybody. Don't let you dim it, because I feel like that's what I did for a long time. I was dimming my own sparkle, my own light,
Mm.
and now I'm finding it again and
Yes.
sparkly and colorful as ever.
Yeah. Anybody that's ready to take Chelsea's sparkle, get it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna throw it out there for everybody else. Like I'm just here with
Yes.
like glitter, like
Mm-hmm.
like in your
That's
face. And I wear these to work
mm.
occasionally, like on an occasion, and I can only imagine like management coming in and seeing me and being like, yeah. And I'm like, that's where the glow came from.
This is me.
Like it or love it. Love me or hate me, and it's
Yes.
still an obsession.
That is awesome. Wow. That is so good. That's right. I think sometimes we want to dim our sparkle, our light, because we don't want to feel like, oh, people say what
Too
we do.
much.
Yeah, it's not, you can only do that for a very limited time, or even though you do it for a long time, you will start being sick yourself, and mentally. I mean, I'll be mental and then physical. So again, all these things will start coming up. We
Hmm.
cannot be doing that for ourselves. So I love that.
Yeah, I can't be. I'm out of the box now. I was
Mm-hmm.
being put into a square box, and I'm a circle, and I won't be put back in the box
No,
anymore.
not anymore.
And I'm out of the cage.
Nobody can stop Dr. Chelsea. She's out.
That's right.
Yeah, that is great. Love that. So, how can people connect with you? If you can share about that, is there any projects you're doing that you'd like us to know about? Anything like that?
Yeah. So
Mm.
I'm mostly active on Instagram. My handle is Dr. Period Chelsea Green. I'm also on Facebook. I have my business page. My business is Green Roots Optimized Wellness, and it is an acronym for GROW. It's a great representation of everything.
Yeah.
And I'm working on getting more active on LinkedIn, and I have currently I'm working through my breathwork certification, and I'm launching and starting more of a continuity program for my clients. So, uh, I usually just do one-off consults, but I'm building a program to be more one-on-one, so
Mm.
I can work more closely and have more accountability for the changes that my clients are implementing. So
Okay.
those are some new things that are up and coming.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're gonna share all of the handles as
Mm-hmm.
well, so you can
Yes.
find them in the comments below.
Yes. Yeah, they will all be there in the comments below. So please, you guys, connect with her. You guys could learn a lot of stuff, and she can help in different ways, as you can see. Want to sparkle like Chelsea? You need to connect with her.
I'll help you sparkle too.
Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome. Well, okay. Well, this comes to the end of our show today. And I want to end it with one of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou that says, when you know better, you do better. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.